Good evening. I am back on here. I did watch the rest of The Lord of the Rings, um, the second one, and I'm getting ready to watch the last one. I still don't have the Hobbit movies that I would really like to see. One of the cats just came in and went out. Anyways, just thinking about a lot of things. I did look up some of the commentaries and thoughts. Really, it's just perspective of what they get out of Scripture. And what they said, one was talking about, you know, the fact that it was a tool and it was borrowed, and that person couldn't, they were concerned because they couldn't necessarily pay for that tool if they couldn't find it, and then there was just kind of like a parallel how, God cares for us, even the littlest things, because an axe being lost isn't going to alter the world. These are just some of the things that I read. And it was just really good. And it was what I really liked about the commentaries was that they kind of got a lot of things out of it that maybe I didn't at first. I had written some of it down. I don't have it with me. I just wanted to get on here and share a little bit. But what I really, really liked was this one commentary, started out talking about the axe head, and then kind of moved to some different scriptures. It was kind of how they connected it. They even went to the story about Hagar and how, she ran away and she was pregnant. If you don't know that story, it's about Sarah and Abraham. Sarah was really not patient to wait for the child that God would give them, even though they were old. And they were told, this is going to happen. And she even laughed about it when she heard, and even said, no, I wasn't laughing. But anyways, that's another story. And that's back at, the beginnings. Maybe it's in Genesis. But that they were talking about how Hagar knew that God saw her. And when she went out the second time, she was with her son and she didn't have water. And God showed her the well and was able to get water for, her son. She was worried. She wanted him to have water. And so they kind of like connected those stories together with the story of the axe. And, that it was a very small part in the Bible, but it was important enough to put in there, I think, to remind us. At least it reminds me, and I think it reminds other people, because I just checked to see what other people thought, that, God really does care for us. The smallest things, the things that matter to us, when maybe even losing an earring, that could really be something important to you. I found an earring the other day, and I was going to turn it into customer service, and I didn't. I ended up forgetting, not even really forgetting. Something was going on at customer service, and I didn't want it to get lost and not be important. And so I kept it over in our fitting room. So I'm hoping it's still there. And it was no big deal. It wasn't fancy, but it was somebody's, and they were missing it. And I'm guessing it could have meant a lot to them. Perhaps it was given to them by, a grandmother or a sister, and, they don't get to see them that often, or maybe that person's not even alive anymore. So it holds significance, which this story that I'm telling you about, this earring, and I was talking about the axe head and things being lost. I worked at a fitness club. I cleaned, and I was cleaning different areas, and there was an area like a tanning place. And so I went in there to clean, and I came out, and then everybody was up in arms because someone had called. I guess the wife of the husband that came called, and it was a missing, I think it was a missing necklace. And I actually was accused of taking it. Maybe not straightforward, but basically they were saying the last person that was in there, and I had been the last person to clean. And, I said, I didn't find anything, I looked, and et cetera, et cetera. And I will tell you what I did. I started praying. I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy, lost something that was important to him. His wife is very upset. I'm also possibly being accused. And, I was kind of concerned, am I going to get fired? Whatever. And so I just started praying, and within, I don't even want to say 30 minutes, the information comes back, and she called or he called, and he had it on him somehow, but thought he had left it there. And I was able to hear back while I was praying and continuing to clean that he did get back his item. That, like I said, I was kind of roundabout being accused that I took it. There's no cameras inside the tanning booths, inside that little room. And so it was their word against my word, just like when you clean homes, just like when you clean offices. If they think you did something, and if they have camera footage, obviously, then they can accuse you. And it really is just your word. Now, everybody knew me in the facility. They knew me to be somebody that was trustworthy, that I had integrity. And so I really believe that helped and would have helped if he had not found it. And so that's just another example of when you don't know what to do, to pray. And again, you may not be somebody that does pray. You may not be somebody that believes in God. I was just thinking about C.S. Lewis, and he has a movie and he has books and he has all kinds of things. So he did not believe in God, and he's gone now. But there is a really good movie, and it's kind of about his life and how he came to know Jesus and believe in him. And I forget the name of it. I forget how long ago I watched it, but it was really good and really encouraging. I think that we all do have to decide what we believe in. And somebody else was saying on one of their posts on YouTube that we all have faith, even if it's not in God. We have faith when we get in our vehicle, it's going to start up and we're going to be able to drive. We are trusting, that we learned how to drive well enough that we can drive, and we're trusting the other people out on the road, that they know how to drive. And not everybody should be out on the road. There's so many reasons why people shouldn't be driving. If they are, they're not able to see very well, if they need a new prescription or not wearing glasses, if they're older and maybe it's really harder for them to drive and see and do the things they need to do, that would be dangerous for them and the people driving. People that do choose to, drink or use substance that could alter the way that they would drive. Using your cell phone, even if you're talking on your phone, I guess it can be dangerous. But just really being mindful when you're on the road, especially when you're in a place that has different weather, and it can be, it can be harder. But you really are trusting, that you're going to be safe on the roads and that your car's going to work. You have faith and trust in other people. You have faith that when you sit in a chair, it's not going to break. And I have funny stories about that too, because I have sat on a chair. I think of this one time, it was really a long time ago. And anyways, I won't share that story. It is really funny to me though. And yes, it has to do with my ex-husband and me and a chair. And we were going to like a New Year's Eve party or whatever. But anyways, like I said, my mind, kind of like connects certain things to this and that, and it will bring up memories. I have a lot of memories, and I have a lot of stories. And I guess I'm really hoping as I continue to do this, that, this is a legacy. This is something that my sons and daughters and grandkids and friends and family, and I guess new friends and, maybe strangers will get to know who I am. And so this is kind of, something that will still continue on even after I'm gone, which is kind of cool, because I really wish I could get on YouTube and put recordings of my mom. She didn't do that, and it would have really been awesome to hear her stories. She had a lot of stories, and I don't really know all of them, and I don't know that I'm going to share, all of her stuff, because this is kind of my journey, my story, my faith, my thoughts. But I just think it's kind of cool. And even for me to look back and watch a video of myself later and say, wow, what was I thinking then? Or, that's really cool that I did share that particular thing. But anyways, I just wanted to get on and say, that about the axe, about the lost axe head, and how it was important to the person that lost it, because he did borrow it. And he probably was concerned that he might not be able to pay back for the tool that he borrowed. That's why he borrowed it, because he didn't have money to go buy the tool himself. And so he was borrowing it. And, when he lost it, it was like, oh no, how am I going to pay it back if I can't find it? And so him finding it was just kind of confirmation that all of the little things that we worry about and the things that we've lost in our lives, whether it's things or, relationships or whatever, like God really does care about that. He cares about what we think about. He cares about how much sleep we get. He cares about our heart, of course, I think is one of the biggest things. He cares where our heart is towards ourselves, towards people, towards life. I think that it's so important. And I just really believe that kindness goes a really long way. And I have people tell me, I've never met anybody kinder. I've had people tell me, you're the most positive person in the world. And it's always a shock to me, because I know myself, and I know my history, and I know that I wasn't always positive. I wasn't always kind. I wasn't always able to manage my emotions. And there's different people that have seen me and know me. And you do act differently around other people. I mean, I'm not saying like you're fake, but there's different personalities. And I think that, your spirit will speak to different people, and some people will pull out those things in you, and other people won't. And you are just kind of, I don't know how to even explain it, but I think you know what I mean. There's some friends that, you might laugh with more than you do others. And there's some friends that you feel so comfortable with, you can share anything with them. I have a best friend. I have, more than one really close friend, but I have one here that I don't really get to see that often. And I feel like I could tell her anything. And I know that she wouldn't see me differently. I know that she would still respect me, and she has wept with me and laughed with me, and just, has really loved me through all of my seasons. And hasn't been like, well, yeah, you're too much for me. I can't really hang out with you anymore. And I always joke and tell her, the reason why we're still really good friends is, we don't get to spend that much time together. We haven't lived under the same roof, or, we don't see each other every single day or get to spend a lot of time. That it's sort of a blessing that we get to have this friendship. That kind of seems new whenever we get to see each other again. We get to catch up and talk and stuff. And I don't know, maybe that's the way God wanted it and made it special for me in very different seasons of my life. So I just wanted to get on here and encourage you that if you feel like you have lost something, maybe it's a tangible thing that means something, really important to you. It's a lost ring, or, it's a lost memory or a lost relationship. I don't know what you've lost, but when I lose things, and this is just like tangible things and sort of other things too. But if I've set my glasses down and I can't find them, or I've lost my keys, or whatever it is, I really do call upon the name, and I will ask, I really need to find this. I have to leave, or whatever. Keys are really not an issue for me right now. I don't need car keys, so there's nothing to lose there. But every time I've asked where something is, I will find it. And there's been times when I've asked and I don't find it right away. There's always a reason. But, like there's kind of a knowing where you'll be praying about it. At least it's for me. I'll pray about something and I can't find it. And I literally feel like inside I'm thinking, okay, well, it's there. And I go and look, and sure enough, it's there. And sometimes it's the last thing that I find, but while I'm looking for it, I find something else that I didn't know I needed to find. Maybe it's an old letter or an old picture or something I wrote down or something I was looking for prior. So I always feel like there's like that connection, which is really cool if you're paying attention. So I will share a little bit about the movie, about the Lord of the Rings. I was watching more of the Two Towers, I guess. And I really love this one because I love the trees, the tree beards. I love them. And I just love that part with Merry and Pippin. It's just, I'm not really into the war stuff. I kind of like still put my hands up and I don't really want to look. But it's part of, it's part of the movie. And it is an important part of the movie. But I like the Shire part. I like the relational part. I like when they're talking and stuff. And so I really love the Treebeards and all of that stuff that goes on. But before that, I was crying. I don't know if you can tell, but I actually was crying earlier because I was watching Aragon and Arwen, and her father was talking to her and telling her there's nothing for you, telling her this is hopeless. You should come with your family and go, because she's elf and human. So if she stays with her family, she'll live an eternity. But she already loves Aragon, and she wants to have hope that she will get to spend however many years with him, because that's who she loves. That's who she has fallen in love with. And Aragon, you find out earlier in the movie that he's like 87 years old. He looks really good for 87. I say he looks like he's in his 30s, but that's the actor. But anyways, you see the look in her face as her father is telling her, this is what's going to happen. You're going to be left a widow. Like, you're going to stay here. You're going to be mortal. You won't be able to live forever. You're making a mistake. You should come with your family. You should go, because you're going to be in grief and despair, and it's, war, and he's not coming back. And she sits there, and as she hears her father say this, tears are streaming down her eyes. And yet she makes the choice to stay, because she has love for Aragon, and she wants to be, I guess, loyal too. And even Aragon was telling her, you know what, I'm not coming back, blah, 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 because the father gets a hold of Aragon and tells him, hey, you know what, you need to let her go. And so I think out of respect for the father and out of this deep love for her, he tells her, and she doesn't believe him. I don't think she believes him for a minute. But, basically that here's your, the necklace that you gave me, and I'm going. That's it. We're not doing this anymore, because he wants her to go with her family, excuse me. And she puts the necklace back in his hand, or it's in his hand, and she folds it and says, it was a gift. And so he still was wearing it throughout this whole stuff and thinks of her often. But I don't want to give the story away. I'm sure most of you have seen it, but maybe not. Some people don't even like Lord of the Rings. But yeah, she makes a choice to have hope in kind of a hopeless situation. And she really does have a deep love for Aragon. And I guess when I think about the guy that told me, hey, you favor this lady, maybe her saying that for me was a little bit deeper, because I have my own story of, a deep love and being hopeful, kind of in a hopeless, situation, that the world would say, hey, what are you doing? And all that stuff. And then still me making a choice to say, well, it is my choice to decide what I want to do and how I feel about this. And so it was just interesting. And yeah, it was pretty emotional for me. It was pretty, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful display. I'm so romantic. I'm like, I don't know. God made me this person that's just the romance thing and love and all of that. I'm over the top with that. And it's just, and you wouldn't think I would be now, because I really have been through some stuff with all of that, but I just love. And I really am hopeful. And I don't even know what that looks like for me anymore. I mean, I've shared some of my story here and there, and I really do try to keep it, for the most. I don't get into it too much because of family and different things, and I just want to be respectful to all parties. But yeah, I just really resonated with their love, with Aragon and Arwen, and just what was happening and the choices that he was making to kind of protect her, and that she was making a decision for herself, even though maybe it wouldn't turn out the way that she wanted it. And I think she almost knew that it wasn't going to turn out in her favor. And yet I guess she would have rather gone on to be a human in hopes that he would come back from war or whatever, or he would come back for her, than to go with her family and live forever and have, this emptiness in her heart because of the love she had for Aragon. And that's what I got out of it. I don't know. That was my perspective. And I know that's kind of trailing off from other stuff. But I do that. And that's kind of just how my videos will be, unless they get changed, unless I should change. And I may change as I do videos. I have certainly prayed about it and said, I really want to share what God wants me to share. And I'm human. I think that I'm allowed to share my thoughts. I'm allowed to share my perspective. And, I watch movies and I eat food. I do all kinds of things. I absolutely love the Lord and I want to serve him the best I can and share my faith. But I'm human. If you pinch me, I'm going to be like, ouch, that really hurt. I'm not, somebody that you couldn't, I don't know, resonate. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. I just feel like I get people. And I think that's why I don't want to share my faith in a way that's going to, and I don't want to say uncomfortable, but I just feel like people do have to choose. And so I want them to be able to choose for themselves. And I feel like sharing my story and my thoughts maybe will help them to be like, well, I do want to find out more about my creator. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I know that some of the things in the past and some of the things I've even done, have not maybe been correct. You can get into the religious thing. You can get into all these rules and you can get into being judgmental and self-righteous and even really having a wrong kind of fear of God. Like, oh my gosh, I do this wrong and I'm going to be, I'm burning, I'm going to hell. And so I've had that happen in my life. Even, kind of was sort of raised a little bit that way and even tried to do that when I first, kind of came back to the Lord and church and everything. And I made mistakes and I'm very willing and have said, hey, I have made mistakes and that convictions for me aren't always for other people. But bottom line, evil's evil. And so if you are stealing things or you are, lacking integrity and different things, then that's a check you have to make in your spirit. And then you have to ask God about it. I mean, the 10 Commandments are the 10 Commandments. They haven't changed. They were in the Old Testament and they're in the New Testament. And they really are something that if you're a believer and you're following, that you are to, you're not stealing, you're not committing adultery, you're not lying and cheating and murdering and coveting. And, you want to honor your parents and you don't have other idols. And I will say I struggle with so many of them. I've lied before. I've stolen before. You have different thoughts and different things going on. And that's where you have to ask God, what am I doing? Do I need to check my spirit? Do I need to align things with you? And ask him to help you because we do need help. And that I think is just about surrendering because we can't do it ourselves. No matter what we think we can do, in our jobs, with our friends, in our family, the things we desire to do, we really can't do it independent of him. We can certainly try, and we might be able to do it for decades and decades, but there's going to come a time when you're just really are going to hit a wall, and it's going to be like, whoa, and it could be health. It could be your finances. It could be friendships. It could be so many things that stops you because you're no longer able to do whatever you think you were doing. Exhaustion. I know so many people that are, still getting, they're choosing to get only 3 hours of sleep and just do that, 21 hours a day of 3 different jobs. And they're not safe on the roads driving if they're falling asleep or so tired. And so just a lot of stuff to think about that I shared. But I just wanted to get on here and say a few more things about the axe head, and I knew that would probably lead to other things. So if you like my videos and you were interested in hearing more about the axe head and some other items, obviously, then, subscribe and like and share and comment. Maybe you have a favorite Bible story or you have thoughts on any of the things that I spoke about. I don't want to make this too much longer, but I just wanted to share some more thoughts with you. And I will talk at you later. Like I said, I don't know if I'll get on tomorrow. But if I do, I'll see you tomorrow. If not, I will see you on Monday. So have a good night and take care. Blessings. Bye.